Hi and welcome everyone to another video. My name is Denis, my wildcard is active, and today I'm going to show you my team selection for Game Week 6 of Fantasy Premier League. But now, let's just get into it. Okay guys, so as you may know if you watch my videos this week, yeah, my wildcard is active. Today I'm going to show you how my team is currently lining up for Game Week 6 of Fantasy Premier League, and we're going to start with the defense. To be honest with you, I find picking the best defenders pretty much the most difficult part on this wildcard, and we're going to discuss also later. I'm going to show you how these defenders are going to rotate, and also I'm going to talk about where I have some doubts. But let's start with the simple questions. Raya and Gabriel, I want to go for a double up from Arsenal because I just think that they are the best defense in the Premier League, and I think that they're going to keep a lot of clean sheets this season. And my advice here would be, if you're wildcarding in Game Week 6, or it doesn't really matter in which week you're going to use your wildcard, but mostly if you're wildcarding early, probably you're going to need your team for a lot of weeks. Now, yeah, you can make some transfers, you can use some other chips like Freed, for an example, if your team is going to look bad in some weeks. But again, I just think that if you're wildcarding, you need to plan to have these players for a long period of time, and obviously you don't really want to make a lot of transfers defensively. For an example, you don't want to have Romero for 5 game weeks and then to just sell him. Now that's funny because we're going to talk also about that. So again, I want to go for defenders from Arsenal. Ryan Gabriel are the safest one. This is one of the reasons. Gabriel also, I think that he's the best playing defender from Arsenal. He has some attacking threat. I know that he didn't score for a long period of time, but I just think that he's the most attacking defender, let's say, from Arsenal, and most nailed one. Again, you can go for someone like Calafiori, Saliba, Timber, but I just think that Arsenal have so much defenders at the moment, and they could easily rotate. So again, I would go for this double up. Again, in goal, maybe if you want to go for someone like Donnarumma, that could be viable also. You're not forced to go for double Arsenal defense, but at the moment, when picking a goalkeeper, we're going to talk about my goalkeeper. So Raya Dubravka, basically Dubravka is picking himself. He's the only 4 million playing goalkeeper at the moment, so he's going to be in the team. And with a goalkeeper, you're not really going to make a lot of goalkeeper transfers, let's be honest. Now, my advice would be to just pick one for the next 15, 20 game weeks, something like that. And I just think that Raya and Arsenal probably are going to get the most clean sheets. So, yeah, the decision is pretty easy for me. Talking about the other defenders, Alderete, a 4 million defender, I think that is going to be in my team. Again, you can go for someone like Esteve, you can go for Gudmundsson, you can go for someone like Rodon, again from Leeds, or you can go for someone like Mukiele. I just think that Alderete at 4 million, he's really decent for defensive contributions compared to the other ones. And Sunderland look decent in the first start of the season. So yeah, I think that he's going to be into my team. My other players who are pretty much locked in defense are Senesi. Definitely is going to be here. He's a defensive contribution monster. He got defensive contribution points every game. So yeah, he's going to be there. And my dilemmas at the moment are with Romero and Anderson. Now Anderson, again, the same as Senesi. I really like him at 4.5 millions. He's great. I think that Fulham are going to get even better in the future. They are a decent defense. The fixtures short term are not amazing for Fulham, but again, that's why I have Romero at the moment. So again, I wanted to try to include some Spurs players into my wildcard just because the next 4 or 5 fixtures are really good. And yeah, I saw a lot of people are going for Tarkovsky, so maybe you're questioning why I don't have Tarkovsky into my team. To be honest with you, I know that not a lot of people are going to agree here with me. I think that Tarkovsky is great. He's the best defender in the game, probably for defensive contributions. I just think that he's a little bit overrated at 5.5 millions, and I don't really like the features for Everton. And for that reason, I just thought, why not just go for defender from Spurs? Again, also Spurs are not such a bad defense, so arguably they are even a better defense than Everton. So again, the next 5 fixtures are great for them, but also for someone like Tarkovsky, although I like that he's safe, I like that you're going to get defensive contributions probably for most of the games with him. I just don't really like the fixtures. They're going to play a lot of tough matches, and I don't really see a lot of clean sheets. Now, compare with Romero, Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to go with him. I could go for someone like Van de Ven, who's cheaper. I just think that Romero also is more decent than Van de Ven for defensive contributions. He has also a little bit of an attacking threat, and he's more safe in terms of injury record compared to someone like Van de Ven. Now, again, originally I have Richards here. My three favorite defenders at the moment at that price, 4.5 millions ish, something like that, are Senesi, Anderson, and Richards. Because all these defenders are really good for defensive contributions. I really like someone like Richards because I really rate Crystal Palace defense also. So yeah, at the moment with me, this is my dilemma, to go for someone like Richards, to go with someone like Richards instead of Anderson, or instead of someone like Romero. But I'm going to show you at the end of the video how these players are going to rotate, and I think that I can include maybe a sports defender because of the fixtures. So yeah, pretty much this is how my defense is looking like. Now let's move and see the midfielders. Okay, so now moving to the midfielders, this is currently how I'm lining up for Game Week 6. Now my starting midfielders are going to be Semenyo, Reinders, Bruno Fernandes, Njae, and Caicedo on the bench. I'm not 100% sure about Caicedo, so don't get me wrong, but we're going to talk also about him in a minute. Let's start with Bruno Fernandes because probably he's the most controversial pick here on the wildcard. Again, the fixtures are great for the next two, for Manchester United, Brentford away, Sunderland. This is one reason Bruno Fernandes is into my team. Another reason is Palmer is injured, or at least we don't know exactly when he's going to be fit, how many minutes he's going to get, because I would love to have someone like Cole Palmer, but again, it doesn't really matter what do you think about Bruno Fernandes, if you like him as a player or not, if you like his personality or not. I think that he's a decent pick. He's mostly a safe pick. So yeah, basically that's why he's here on my wildcard. And also I don't see other really better options at the moment. Maybe he's overpriced a little bit, but he's going to get decent points. He's on penalties. He's still on some set pieces. He's decent for defensive contributions also. And although he's playing deep and maybe not in the position we would like Bruno Fernandes to play, he's still creating a lot of chances for a lot of players from Manchester United, and he could have had even more attacking returns. Remember, he also missed a penalty. So again, he's just a decent pick. He's going to be in my wildcard at some point. Yeah, maybe in game week 9, I'm going to look to maybe buy Mohamed Salah back, maybe buy someone like Cole Palmer, because the fixtures are going to get even better for Chelsea. But for the short term, I think that he's great. And if you're going to be stuck with Bruno Fernandes, it's not going to be such a big problem because the fixtures are not so bad for Manchester United. Now let's talk about Njae, about Semenyo. Both of them are decent. Finally, both of them got defensive contributions in the last in game week 5. Njae, I just think that he's really a lock in my wildcard team. There's no way I'm going to change him, and the reasons are pretty simple. He's on penalties. He's getting decent minutes for Everton. Everton are improved this season attacking wise. They have Grealish, they have Dewsbury Hall. I think that they are just better in attack in general, and he's decent also for defensive contributions. Now, will that continue? I can't really guarantee you that, but in the first 5 games of the season, he was really decent for defensive contributions, so that's just a bonus for him. And also, he's really cheap, so yeah, he's in the team. The same goes for Semenyo. Now, again, he's not that cheap like someone like Njae. He could be on penalties when Clivert is not on the pitch. Now, obviously, at the moment, it's not looking like Clivert is going to be real soon a starter for Bournemouth, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Even without the penalties, he's a reliable pick. If, for an example, Clivert is not going to get into the starting 11 for some reason, Semenyo on penalties would be just a formidable option. Again, I don't think that he's essential or something like that. The fixtures are decent for Bournemouth. He's in good form. He's playing 90 minutes. He's just reliable. Again, I'm not expecting him to get defensive contributions every game week. I'm not expecting him to score, to hold what I want to say every game week, but he's just a decent pick. It's a nice entry point against Leeds away. And yeah, if I'm going to get rid of him at some point when the fixtures are going to get worse, probably you're just going to get some price rises. So yeah, I think that it makes a lot of sense to have Semenyo on a wildcard. The same goes for Reinders. Again, as I said from the beginning, he scored 10 points, I think, in game week 1, something that everybody gone crazy about him. I knew before that he's not going to be that kind of player who's going to get you 10 points, 2 goals every game week or something like that. But the best thing about Reinders is that he's getting a lot of minutes in that Manchester City team, and you can't guarantee that with other players. I considered someone like Foden on a wild card. I just don't want to go with that risk, because again, although at the moment we think that Foden at least is going to be a starter for Manchester City, the real truth is that we don't know exactly. Even someone like Reinders, at some point when City are going to have a lot of games in the Champions League, in the Premier League, in a lot of cups, maybe his minutes are going to be reduced. But from what I know, from what we know so far, his minutes are going to be real good. He's going to chip in with some assists, with some goals, and maybe some defensive contributions also. So, and also the entry point against Burnley at home is just great. The fixtures are decent for City in the short term, so he's a no-brainer. He was in my team even before the wildcard, so yeah, he's going to be still in my team. So yeah, other options I could think of on a wildcard, someone like Bukayo Saka, and you're going to see why he's not in my team at the moment. I just think that his minutes maybe are going to be managed a little bit. Maybe he's not going to be on penalties, but again, I like Bukayo Saka. If you want to go there, if you want to go a little bit different, I think that he could be a great option. Now, not necessarily in game week 6. I think that after game week 8, after game week 9, his minutes are going to be even more better because he just came back from an injury. But overall, I like Bukayo Saka as an option. Cole Palmer is not going to be an option at the moment for me, from what we know so far. And let's discuss a little bit about the last midfielder. So it's Caicedo. I know it's boring, but to be honest with you, I think that he's a decent one. Now he's 5.6 millions. Again, I can afford him. I'm not really sure which is going to be my last cheap midfielder. He's going to be a rotation player. I'm not going to play Caicedo every game, although you could argue that he's really decent if you want to do that, because Caicedo is getting defensive contributions almost every game week. I think that he missed in one, so probably he's the best midfielder in the game regarding defensive contributions. If you want a reliable player who's going to get decent points every game week, probably he's the player for you. Now, what I don't like about him is, for an example, you're going to see in a minute, but I have João Pedro, surprise, surprise, in my team. And if you ever you're going to want to have three players from Chelsea, he's going to block that spot. Or if you want to have someone like Mark Guyu to free up some spots, it's going to be really difficult for you to get to someone like Palmer. Because, for an example, you have Caicedo, you have João Pedro, you have Mark Guyu. You're going to need to sell one of your Chelsea players, and at some point you could be stuck with that. So this is one thing I don't like about him. Other than that, you're starting pretty much every game week with 3, 4, 5 points if Chelsea are going to get a clean sheet, and that's just great. Now, again, he's not going to score every game week, but I think that he's a decent option who's overall scoring a lot of points. He's the third most scoring midfielder, I think, at the moment. But yeah, there are other options. Now, someone like Harvey Road would have been a great option, but at the moment I can't go there. His minutes are not secured. Someone like Dewsbury Hall, I would have liked to go on a wild card, but he's on 4 yellow cards, and also have someone like Njaya. So if he's going to get another yellow card, he's going to miss a game. There's someone like Stach, with a lot of people at the moment are going there again. I know that he scored a lot of points in game week 6. I'm just not that impressed with Stack. He's not also really good for defensive contributions. He's in some games getting them, in some games not. So he's not a consistent player like Caicedo, like someone like Chaka. So again, there are other options that you could even go for someone like Anderson, who is also decent for defensive contributions, but overall there aren't a lot of options. Or if you really want to save the money, you could go for someone like King from Fulham, who pretty much started all the games this season, but again, I'm just not 100% sure on his minutes. So yeah, with Caicedo, you're going to get a player who's reliable, who's going to play 90 minutes every game week, and who's more likely probably to get you 3-4 points at the minimum. So yeah, I at the moment, this is how my midfield is looking like. Please let me know in the comments down below, what do you think, what would you change? Yeah, maybe midfielder from Spurs I forgot to mention, maybe someone like Xavi Simons, maybe someone like Kudus. But again, I've not been impressed with Kudus at the moment. His goal scoring opportunities are not so often. He's getting a lot of assists, that's great. The next 5 fixtures are decent for Spurs, but I don't know. At the moment, I don't want to drop any of my midfielders, and yeah, and Xavi Simons, obviously, I expect him to be the starter for Spurs in the long run, but at the moment, you can just not guarantee his minutes. So yeah, please let me know what would you change into this midfield, but let's see the whole team. Okay, now that you can see my whole team, the easiest decision in building this wildcard draft for game week 6 was the forward line, to be honest with you. João Pedro, Haaland, Gyökeres. Again, at the moment, I know Haaland is flagged. So for the from the comments of Pep Guardiola, we don't know at the moment if Haaland is going to be fit for Game Week 6. I suspect that he's going to be fit and he's going to play close to 90 minutes. Again, if let's wait and see what Pep Guardiola is going to say tomorrow in the press conferences. If he's going to rule out Haaland, we're talking about an extreme case. Maybe he's going to be out for, I don't know, some months or something like that. I'm just going to see which four I'm going to have instead of him, but probably Haaland is going to be fine and he's going to be my captain. So I can't use my triple captain chip on him because I'm using my wildcard. So at least I don't have to make that decision at the moment because it would not be that straightforward. So why I'm saying that this was the easiest part of my wildcard. João Pedro, I had him from game week 1. I don't want to lose the value in him. His minutes look amazing at the moment. Delap is injured. Palmer is not ready yet to play 90 minutes every gaming. So João Pedro, he's going to play either as a number 10, either as a number 9. His minutes are looking great. I don't think that Marguerite is going to start for Chelsea real soon instead of João Pedro. He could also, there's a small chance maybe he's going to be also on penalties. I know that Enzo Fernandez took the last one, but again, some Chelsea fans, including FPL Harry, said that he thinks that obviously João Pedro gave that penalty to Enzo Fernandez, so there's a small chance he's going to be also on penalties. I think that overall he's just a great option. They're going to play against Liverpool in game week 8 or something like that, but overall the fixtures are decent for Chelsea, and yeah, I'm not expecting him to score at the same rate he was doing in the beginning of the season. I don't think that he's going to be that player who's going to score in every game, but I think that is just great value. So João Pedro, Haaland are pretty much locked in into my team, and at that price point, again, you can go for someone like Strand Larsen. I think that he's great as a budget striker. I think that he's the best one at that price point, to be honest with you, also on penalties. I had Mateta. I'm not going to go with him on a wild card. The fixtures are not amazing short term for Crystal Palace. Chris Wood, again, he has one good fixture in Game Week 6. After that, the fixtures are going to be bad, so there's no way I'm going to go for Chris Wood. And also, Igor Jesus is just scoring a lot of goals, so probably Chris Wood at some point. I would say he's going to lose his starting spot for Nottingham Forest, so there aren't a lot of good options. Ekitike just got sent off finally in the Carabao Cup, and he's going to miss Game Week 6. So again, if we talk a little bit about someone like Alexander Isak, I don't think that, I don't know. I think that he's a good option for Game Week 6. Definitely, he's going to start, but the fixtures are just not amazing. Crystal Palace, Chelsea, for Liverpool. You're paying a lot of money for Alexander Isak. That's why you see Gyökeres on my team. Again, maybe you think that he wasn't impressive, and I think the same. He wasn't impressive against Liverpool, against Manchester City. He didn't create any chances in those games. But Arsenal, after game week 7, are going to have an amazing run, and you want your striker, Gyökeres, to play in those games when he's going to face weaker oppositions, and probably in those games he's going to get more chances and probably he's going to score more goals. Now, I think that he's going to be on penalties. Now, there's a debate. We don't know exactly for sure until Arsenal are going to get a penalty. We'll never know who's going to be on penalties, Bukayo Saka or Gyökeres. But Saka gave a lot of penalties in the past. This is my presumption. I think that Gyökeres is going to be on penalties. He's a goal scorer. He took one. Arteta said that Gyökeres is the best penalty taker now. Again, we're going to see what's going to happen. That's just a bonus. Again, it's not amazing to have three players from Arsenal against Newcastle away. That's not the easiest fixture you want to get, but I'm trusting this team. I'm trusting their defense, and I want to have Gyökeres long term. Now, if we talk a little bit about Alexander Isak, I could include maybe him instead of Gyökeres and make some sacrifices in defense, maybe go for 4 million defenders. But again, I'm not really sure I want to do that, and it is a risk to go for Alexander Isak. Even without Ekitike, he's not going to get probably 90 minutes against Crystal Palace, and it's not a great fixture against Crystal Palace away anyway. They were exceptionally good in defense. So yeah, at the moment, this is how I'm thinking. At some point in the game, maybe I'm going to want back Mohamed Salah. Let's see if Saka, if Palmer are going to be performing. But at the moment, this is how I'm lining up for Game Week 6. This is how my wildcard draft is looking like. And yeah, I'm going to show you how this team is looking for the next fixture. So let's move to the next part. Okay, now in the last part, I want to show you how this wildcard team is going to look like in the next few game weeks, so you can have a clear image of how good this wildcard is, because obviously when you're using your wildcard, you need to plan for the future. It doesn't really matter just Game Week 6, obviously, how your team is going to look like, because you're going to have this team for a long period of time. Now we're going to do that on the Fantasy Football Hub app. If you want to check it, they have a lot of tools. The links are into my description, and also it is free to play around here. As you can see, this is the team I showed you on screen before. This is Game Week 6. Now probably this is how I'm going to play with it. If I'm going to go with that defense, there's when I have a lot of questions at the moment. If we move to Game Week 7, Raya Gabriel against West Ham at home, and Gyökeres also. That's just amazing. Unjay João Pedro against Liverpool is not the best fixture, to be honest with you. And but yeah, if I have to play João Pedro for one fixture against Liverpool, it's not the end of the world. It's also at home. The fixtures for City are great. Haaland, Ryan Diers, Haaland is going to be probably my captaincy. My captain, although Bruno Fernandes is playing against Sunderland at home, so he could be tempting. But yeah, if I'm real at the moment, I think that I would go for Haaland. Romero, Senesi against Leeds, against Fulham at home. Anderson also against Bournemouth away. So probably I would just play the other two, Romero and Senesi, because Anderson is playing against Semenyo. What I want to show you mostly here is how my defenders are going to rotate, because if you have a striker like João Pedro or someone like Semenyo who's going to play against Manchester City, it's not going to be such a problem to play them. Here, obviously, I'm not going to play Dubravka, Caicedo, Anderson, Alderete, although Caicedo is going to get probably a lot of defensive contributions in that game. Now, if we move to Game Week 8, and if you look at my defenders, here again, Alderete against Wolverhampton at home could be a nice shout if I don't want to play someone like Senesi. But again, probably here I would just go Senesi, Gabriel, Romero with decent fixtures. Maybe if Aston Villa are going to get better, maybe if they are going to show some signs of better attacking, I could play someone like Alderete instead of Romero against Aston Villa. Other than that, yeah, Bruno Fernandes here in Game Week 8 is going to play against Liverpool away, but you don't really mind him. And Njai is going to play against Manchester City away. Now here I could play someone like Caicedo instead of Njai, but probably I wouldn't want to do that because again, Njai in these matches probably he's going to get more chances to get defensive contributions. He's on penalties. Everton are decent attacking wise, and yeah, as I said before, the fixtures for Gyökeres, for Haaland, for João Pedro, for these strikers are going to be decent. By Game Week 8, probably I'm going to have 2 or 3 free transfers. If we move to Game Week 9, now this is the point probably where if someone like Palmer becomes available, I really want to have him for my team. So I'm going to try to find a way. But if you look firstly at my defenders, here is probably the toughest gaming, when not a lot of defenders, a lot of good cheap defenders who are also good for defensive contributions have really decent fixtures. But Gabriel against Palace is okay. Romero against Everton away, it's okay. And Senesi against Nottingham Forest at home is decent. So yeah, I would bench Anderson and Alderete. Caicedo against Sunderland could be an option here. Now, what I can do here, again, if I want to get someone like Cole Palmer, for an example, I'm going to need to sell Bruno Fernandes. That would be probably my only way, and I'm going to need to find something like minus 0.6 or 7, because I made some transfers, so I gained some value there. So again, what I can do is maybe downgrade someone like Caicedo to someone like King, or maybe someone like Stach, or yeah, pretty much I think that's it. Or maybe downgrade one of my defenders. But again, we need to see if Palmer is going to be fit for that week. Maybe here also, not here, maybe if we move to Game Week 10, here is when the fixtures for Spurs are not going to be that great. From Game Week 10, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, and after that I think that it is Newcastle, so not great for someone like Romero. It is not nice to make a lot of defensive transfers, but here in Game Week 10 I would consider someone like Romero to Virgil van Dijk if I'm going to be able to afford him. Again, he's going to play against Aston Villa at home, not the best fixtures, but from Game Week 12 the fixtures are going to be better for Liverpool. You can't see here on the graphic, but there is the swing for Liverpool from game week 12. So someone like Virgil van Dijk could be a decent option here. And overall, the team look okay. Bear in mind, someone like Semenyo, the fixtures are going to get tougher after game week 10. Man City, Aston Villa, but after that it's West Ham in game week 12. So not a lot of problems here. So yeah, I think that this team is going to be decent for a long period of time. But yeah, I need to see. The plan at the moment after wildcarding is to try to save as much free transfers as possible, close to 4, close to 5 maybe, and then to be more flexible with my midfielders and with my strikers, because maybe there are going to be some times where I want to have Mohamed Salah. Maybe I will want to have both Haaland and Salah, so I will need to be flexible to do that. But yeah, this was my wildcard team for Game Week 6. Maybe I'm going to do some changes. You're going to see them on deadline stream on Saturday if you want to join me. But yeah, please let me know down in the comments down below what would you change, where do you think I gone wrong. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching this video this long. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.
Bag gura lor ce fac, bag gura lor când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic de va. Apoi îmi bag